Alright, so this is my review for Helldivers 2. First off, want to say I reviewed playing mostly with random teammates. I got 100% trophies, and I have about 370 hours in the game. First up, the controls and movement. Controls are good. Standard movement and shooting feel great, especially with the PS5 adaptive triggers. I would like an option to throw grenades with a single button press, or have different controller schemes that move grenades and utilities to the shoulder buttons for easier access. Movement is very simple too. Walk, sprint, dive, access a stratagem menu, use an emote wheel, with some useful options. Overall, controls and movement are pretty solid, no major complaints. Now for the sound. I think the sound in Helldivers 2 is great. Bugs screech, spit, flying, charge, and stomp at you. There's some issues with Bile Titans, spewers, and chargers. They don't make enough of the right sounds when approaching or charging at the player. For example, spewers drag large acid sacks across the ground silently. Chargers don't make much sound when charging at the player. And Bile Titans also make very little sound when approaching the player. As for automatons, you can hear them chant and march, as well as all their explosions, mortar strikes, enemy gunfire, flying ships overhead, and a massive four-legged walker straight out of Star Wars. They all sound great. I do think Hulks should be much louder when they walk around. Eagle 1 comms sound cool, player voice emotes are fun and we need more of them. Player gunfire and pretty much all weapons sounds pretty nice and crisp. Orbital stratagems, Eagle jets flying over, super destroyers moving from planet to planet, objective equipment operating, hellpod deployment, ambience, and music all sound excellent. Overall, aside from a few much needed touch-ups with the bugs, I think the sound is excellent. Now for the enemies. Bugs are fun and challenging to fight. The AI is smart, there are large mobs in variety and quantity, and dismemberment and gore are fun and messy. There are some issues though. Both types of spewers can walk inside each other and shoot through each other directly at the player without harming each other. Additionally, as I mentioned earlier, the spewers have a silent movement issue that can be a big problem in tough situations. The charges can feel easy to dodge and walk around sometimes, but other times they'll turn on a dime. We also got a new update today with some new bug variants. Overall, despite some issues with the bugs, they're fun to fight at their core, they're diverse and deadly, they're satisfying to take down in large numbers, and I think they're a good combination of fun and challenging. Automatons are a nightmare. You can run away from bugs, but bots have rockets and high RPM laser chain guns that could snipe you from a quarter-mile away. They have impenetrable shields, mortars, patrolling rocket gunships, more aggressive spawn locations, stratagem disabling towers, Sauron towers, and of course, bot patrols. They also have tanks, kamikaze jetpack bots, unlimited firepower, and massive dogs that could poop out a whole full squad of devastators. Additionally, there's double-armed chainsaw robots with huge health pools that move fast. Personally, I don't like playing against the bots, especially after helping out with so many bot MOs, but I still think they're a perfect addition to the game. Casual players who enjoy killing bots could hop on a level 4 mission, scrap some bots, and have some fun. Their metal breaks as you shoot them, they fall apart, dismember, explode, fly away. Head pops, body drops are always satisfying with the big hulks. Even though I don't like playing against bots, I've seen a lot of community posts, videos, and images of bots shooting through walls to kill players, spawning too close to defense targets and defense missions with linear routes for enemy NPCs, spawning or dropping right on top of players, and players getting stuck inside Hulk and Devastator arms when you're getting meleeed. Automatons also have received new bot and vehicle variants this recent update, so masochistic bot players are living the dream right now. Overall though, even most players like playing the bugs, I still think the bots are a great and necessary part of the game, and they can still be very fun to kill on lower difficulties. Next up are the missions. Missions are very simple for the most part, but offer a lot of stuff to do. You pop some bug holes, bot fabricators, unlatch a nuke and watch it blow up, drill some oil, blow up towers and mortar sites, pop some eggs, load up a cannon with random explosives, or call down a hell bomb to nuke a small facility or a huge bird nest. The new update today also introduced several different mission types, including a bug nest or huge bot base that you could penetrate and explode everything inside. There's also another bug mission where you carry a little alien guy on your back. Overall, missions are simple but offer enough variety between major content updates. Difficulty. There's a wide variety of difficulties available. As you increase the difficulty, there are more kinds of missions and objectives to complete. You get more loot, more XP to upgrade your ship and save up super credits for the next war bond. You get bigger hordes to fight. In my opinion, higher difficulties, 7+, are just more fun and engaging, more objectives, more bigger hordes to mow through. Anything below that doesn't really provide enough of a challenge and reward for me. There's stratagem modifiers for missions level 5+, which I don't like at all. They basically just nerf your stratagem accuracy and cooldown, your stamina, intermittently disable stratagems via ion storms. I wish there were more positive and negative creative mods for missions and planets. There's been great community suggestions, but the devs are pretty silent on it. Overall, I think difficulty is fine, but it's just those mission modifiers are a big drawback. Maps. The map variety is great. Snowy mountains, red forests with high bushes, blinding deserts, purple jungles with dense foliage, dark rocky moons, hot deserts, hell planets with tornadoes, winding mountains, green weed planets, jungle biomes, and planets with acid rain. They're all beautiful and unique aside from some generic rocky moons, which is expected. Generic rocky moon. They're all the same. The map variety and visuals are excellent. Environmental destruction is fun too. On the maps, you can destroy buildings and terrain with explosive. Not too much terrain, but it's enough to put some holes in the ground, and when you call in a big 500 kg, it'll put a big hole in the ground. Next up are the weapons. There's a wide variety of weapons and stratagems to use. Weapons feel and function differently. The game offers different roles through its variety of guns and stratagems like support, assault, heavy, artillery, sniper, running gun, light weapons, supply guy, flame, explosive, laser, electric, plasma. There's a lot to say about weapon balancing. As a casual player who enjoys any weapon as long as it's fun and efficient, I'm pretty happy. But a lot of the primary games and some stratagems are not very effective on higher difficulties, with only a select few standing out. I think a lot of weapons or stratagems just need more raw power and ammo. Elemental weapons are extremely efficient and fun to use, but using a basic AR with no passive effects, armor penetration, low damage makes high difficulty missions and carrying teammates significantly more tedious, not necessarily harder. Overall, I still think the weapon diversity and design are great, and it's always going to be expanding with more content drops, but it's not going to mean much in the long term if they're not all uniquely strong in their own ways. Strong or efficient. My personal choices for the best weapons or stratagems are gas strike, cluster bomb, 500 kg nuke, HMG, the machine gun, the arc thrower, the jump pack, the guard dog rover, RIP Eruptor my baby, incendiary breaker, liberator carbine. Even though it's kind of unpowered, it's still fun to shoot. The adjudicator, pummeler SMG, RIP the extra stun effect we got on release, the plas scorcher, the stun and incendiary grenade, and the mech walkers, even though they really need some buffs. Arrowhead did do some balancing today. This is a little update to the review. I did write it a long time ago, but I've just been waiting for Arrowhead to kind of get their stuff together with the balance and stability. Arrowhead also decided to patch out fire damage to armored targets, so the flamethrower is now a lot less effective against chargers. The weapon balance has been a significant factor in turning me off from playing the game. I think the game's repetitive content was fine. What really mattered to me was the variety of weapons and gear combinations to take down massive mobs and big enemies, which kept the game feeling fresh at first. But it seems Arrowhead is set in their ways. They made their stance on balance clear through ignoring feedback and implementing nerfs. It could be another year before Arrowhead realizes they made a huge mistake and starts rebalancing the guns and enemies properly. Upgrades. Ship customization is somewhat limited, with only basic stratagem upgrades available that honestly feel way too expensive for what they do. It would be nice to have an extra 3 seconds off my 12-second stratagem deployment, or make my HMG reload 1 second faster, so fuck it, I'll spend the extra samples that I have. Voice acting. The Helldivers voice actors are excellent. They scream a lot and deliver great one-liners when they're getting blown up, or doing the blowing up, or firing an entire MG magazine without stopping. There's a few NPCs on board to talk to. They're really simple. That's fine. There's also a TV on board the ship that randomly shows Super Earth propaganda bits, informative general game tips, and Super Earth news. Now for the monetization. I'm sure you're all familiar with the famous Helldivers 2 Warbond, but the game offers all players an equal path to the same gear and upgrades. Warbonds can be grinded out in a decent amount of time, while Warbonds can be bought immediately. Unlocking the gear and the Warbonds requires actually playing the game and grinding about 500 to 600 medals for the entire set. Up next to last, we have a big problem of mine with the game is the uninformative nature of the game. Can't see stratagem input combinations on the ship or in the Hell Pod before deployment. The game doesn't teach players how to use a flashlight or firing modes. The Eagle stratagem menu doesn't inform players that the Eagle stratagems have unlimited uses, but require a 2-minute cooldown after all Eagles are used. It only shows an 8-second cooldown between 2 uses on the menu. The game doesn't explain the Eagle rearming feature in the menus, doesn't indicate that certain stratagems have limited uses, and become permanently unavailable for the rest of the match. There's hardly any stats available for support weapons, sentries, emplacement stratagems, and the orbital strikes and eagles. I would like to see some damage, some more penetration stuff on that. You can't see your resupply pods on the map. You can't see any discovered ammo and samples on the map. And there's no practice or firing range to test all your weapons and stratagems. Alright, we got the technical issues. Crashing and disconnecting issues. Occasionally get stuck inside charges when being rammed or stomped. Bugs clipping through each other, objects or walls. Bots shooting through walls and clipping through walls. Player character exits crouch automatically when traversing bumper ground. Teammate stimming stops you from sprinting. Weapons disappear from hand sometimes. Stuck in first person view and unable to shoot or switch views. Scientists occasionally get stuck on walls during escort missions. Landing reinforcement pods on enemies often doesn't hurt or kill them, even when landing directly on their heads. Looking at you, Bile Titans and Chargers. Janky climbing. Sometimes character doesn't climb clear open ledges, while other times they do. Stratagems are too bouncy and inconsistent. Sometimes stick to rocks, other times bounce away. Now for the game score. I'm giving Helldivers 2 a very cautious 9 out of 10. The combat is high quality, and the game just at its core is a lot of fun. For $40, it's worth it if you enjoy shooters and beating juicy, crunchy bugs in space with different type of weapons on beautiful planets. However, the game has some major issues with balancing, bugs, stability that have made me less excited to play regularly. Many players, including myself, have had problems with crashing and FPS drops both on PS5 and PC. These issues have been around for about 6 months since the game came out, and while there was a big patch recently, it hasn't fixed everything and might even cause some new problems. Might even bring back some old problems. Because if you don't know or you're new, that's what Arrowhead's patch history has kind of been like. Sometimes new patches bring back old bugs, introduce completely random new bugs that the community has to test and figure out. I don't mind balance changes if they're done well, but it's hard to enjoy the game when my favorite weapons keep getting nerfed. Overall, Helldivers 2 hasn't lived up to my hopes for a long-term live service game. I was looking for something to play regularly for more than 3 or 4 months. I might come back to check out new content like the Illuminate or vehicles if they drop, but right now I can't keep playing the game in its current state. And you know what? Some of these issues in my review could have been solved in a patch, but honestly, I'm tired of reading patch notes, seeing what works and what doesn't. It's a chore to keep up with the updates and fixes, so like I said earlier, I'd rather wait a few months for a big, massive fix update and community test to see the overall state of the game then. But yeah, that's my review.